No surprise in the Polish parliament today as Prime Minister Donald Tusk wins the vote of confidence, thus securing his position as the undisputed leader of the ruling coalition. What follows next? And to discuss it, we're joined by Jowanka Jakubek-Lalik, Associate Professor at the University of Warsaw's Faculty of Law and Administration. Good evening.
Good evening.
So it was, in fact, a landslide victory for Donald Tusk today. Do you think there was, a hint of uncertainty ahead of the vote?
Well, there wasn't much uncertainty, I would say, because the expectations was that the vote of confidence would be in favor of the Prime Minister. And I think that all the votes were really diligently counted ahead of the vote, because actually this move posed some risk for the Prime Minister, because should he lose this vote, he would need to offer his resignation, which for sure wasn't his plan for today. So this victory, as you mentioned, is indeed something important also to restore the confidence in the government and to show that the government is still supported by the majority in the parliament.
Yes, to restore the confidence in the government, but what government? Because we know that a major reshuffle awaits Donald Tusk's cabinet. Who will lose their jobs?
Well, the reshuffle is something that the Prime Minister declared, but without giving any details. So we don't really know who is going to lose the ministerial positions. What we know is that there will be fewer ministries, so the number will be limited. And there will be some consolidation of the policy areas of the government. The Polish law, the act for how the Council of Ministers is working, actually gives a lot of flexibility for the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister can construct the government according to his or her needs. It basically works like building from Lego blocks, that he can choose which policy areas to accumulate in one ministry and which to divide. And this is actually within his competence to do that.
Right, but given the popularity of certain ministers of Donald Tusk's government, who can it be? Because we've been hearing about the Minister of Justice, for example.
Well, the Minister of Justice has a very difficult job, I would say. That's one of the most difficult in this government, because for sure he was waiting for the change of power in the presidential palace, which is not happening. So the possibility of supporting his ambitious reforms for restoration of the rule of law is unfortunately not certain, to say the least. So it is up to the Prime Minister to decide whether to leave Mr. Adam Bodnar, who is a very experienced lawyer. He's a professor of law, very respected former ombudsman. Whether to leave him in his office and try to look for some other solutions when it comes to restoration of the rule of law, or maybe to adopt some new strategy with a new face. That's up to the Prime Minister. But when it comes to reshuffling of the government, I think what is important is always this kind of balance of power within the coalition. So the government is currently consisting of 4 political parties, which means that every party would like to have the share of the jobs within the government to be able to support the important policy areas and policy ideas. So whatever decision the Prime Minister is going to take, he will need to take into consideration the wishes of the coalition partners as well.
Therefore, my following question, now that the vote of confidence has been won, do you think it is time for Donald Tusk to discipline his coalition partners? Because we've been hearing a lot of criticism from their part for the past few weeks.
For sure, the disagreements and the discussions between the coalition partners, which were made public, were not very popular among the public, and people were not treating those kind of disagreements, public disagreements, with, let's say, a lot of trust. So indeed, it would be much better if those kind of disagreements or even conflicts were settled within the coalition, and sometimes even behind closed doors. If I would if I could make some recommendations to the government, that would be for sure one of the recommendations. So indeed, the Prime Minister would need to kind of install his authority in the government, and also to pay attention to the communication that is going from the government to the public, because also the kind of challenges of communication were one of the reasons for criticism that the government was getting in recent weeks and months.
So what awaits this old-new government? As Donald Tusk has already stated, he is prepared for a difficult cohabitation with the new president.
Well, I think that his speech today, however, he's a very good speaker and very experienced, but it was still lacking some details about his vision, what exactly he wants to achieve for the remaining 2.5 years of the government. So what we still wait for is a declaration of this vision, of the mission of the government, of the most important objectives. And this is also what he declared that he's going to announce in July. So we still need to wait probably to really hear those details from his side. However, this needs to be really precise, and I think that a lot of people who voted for the coalition parties in 2023 and currently also voted for Mr. Rafał Trzaskowski are expecting the government to really restore the hope, to give some really strong message to the people that they are going to fulfill the expectations, that they are also going to deliver the results that are expected.
That's what the government is declaring now. But can the government work effectively in Polish semi-presidential system, having a stronger position in the presidential palace?
Well, we don't really have a semi-presidential system. The president has only, let's say, blocking powers, and also the possibility to propose his own legislative proposals. But he's not the governing, let's say, party in the Polish political system. However, indeed, the cohabitation is going to be challenging for sure, because the government and the president are from different political parties and are very much in conflict. So the government would need to look for possibilities to cooperate with the president, especially on this kind of policy ideas that would be widely supported by the general public. So if people would be in favor of specific acts of law or specific policy initiatives, the president would also need to be more careful in trying to oppose those kind of initiatives, because he's newly elected and he also will be in need for gathering political support behind him.
Right, so as you mentioned a while ago, Donald Tusk has already pledged to accelerate the work of the government and of the ruling coalition as well, in order to deliver on the election promises, right? Now that the holiday season begins, do you think it will be a busy summer for Polish lawmakers?
It should be a busy summer for the Polish lawmakers, because a lot of criticism for the government was made on the presumption that the government is not actually fulfilling the expectations. So indeed, they need to prove that they are really working hard to deliver those promises, and especially now when it's going to be even more challenging for them to deliver those promises. So they need to be much more creative in looking for some new ways of achieving the consensus with the newly elected president. Maybe not all of the acts of parliament will be signed by the president. So again, there will be a need to look for some other opportunities and possibilities to act for the government.
Well, then, on the other hand, coalition leaders claim they work a lot, but they also claim that the best part of their work goes unnoticed due to some failures in public communication. So, should we interpret this as the major factor to explain rather low public support for Donald Tusk? According to the latest survey, 35% of Poles support him, while 58 do not. Well, 35 trust him, while 58 do not. trust him.
Indeed, problems with communications were one of the biggest sources of criticism to the government. Currently, Prime Minister decided to invest in a spokesperson for the government. But we still don't know who is going to take this role, and this role is not going to be an easy task, for sure. But also what needs to happen is totally reformulating how the government is communicating with the people. Much more investment in social media, in direct communication with the people. Also with NGOs and so on. So this is something that the government really needs to invest if they want to keep the support and gather more support, because as you also mentioned, the support for the government currently is not at the highest.
And that would be the full stop here. Jowanka Jakubek-Lalik, Associate Professor at the University of Warsaw's Faculty of Law and Administration, was our guest tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, coming up next, we have On the Record with Alina Poliakova, President and CEO of Center for European Policy Analysis, who will talk to our news director, Adam Yasser, about the US-Europe relations and whether they are really as bad as we are sometimes made to believe. And that would be all for now. Thank you for watching and stay with us for much more here on TVP World.